We'll do it live. We'll do it live. We're doing it live again. So check it out. I've got Facebook friends, just as I predicted. My Catholic Facebook friends have begun being tricked by the new Pope. They just want to believe so bad. They just want to believe so bad. I'm telling you that this Pope is BLM and he's LGBT. It's the whole, dude, you got to understand. BLM is the Vatican. It's not something else. It's literally not something else. It's literally isn't anything else. It's just the Vatican. When you see mobs of Black Lives Matter terrorists running through the streets, burning down cities, beating people up, blocking freeways, killing people, that was all organized by the Vatican to take down the U.S. government. You don't believe me? That's fine. Let me turn my volume down. People don't want to believe me. People don't want to believe me, but I'm telling you, 100% mark my words. Okay, the Pope, the new Pope, is 100% exactly like the old Pope. Because here's the thing. It's the Vatican. You see, they have an agenda. They've had an agenda for a long time, and it doesn't change. And it's not what you want it to be. See, if you're a cat, if you believe in Jesus Christ and you have certain traditional values, they trick you. They're tricking you. I'm not kidding. Look, the Catholic Church. Okay, let me put it this way. I've got you go on Twitter. I'm not allowed on Twitter. I'm blocked from Twitter. Okay, but Lucas Gage is on there all day, every day, talking about how much he hates the Jews. And I've been critical of the Jews and the Jewish mafia, particularly the Jewish mafia, not just Jews, but the Jewish mafia. And E. Michael Jones is on there, and Nick Fuentes is on there, and Ye's on there. And E. Michael Jones is Catholic, and Lucas Gage is Catholic, and Nick Fuentes is Catholic. And they all criticize the Jews all day, every day, and how the Jews have all this power. And the Jewish mafia does have a lot of power. And the state of Israel is threatening America, especially right now. I just did a video on it recently. They are threatening us. They are trying to intimidate the president. But here's the thing you have to understand. When you saw American cities under Donald Trump being ravaged by Black Lives Matter and Antifa, that was 100% the work of the Roman Catholic Church in Rome. That doesn't mean all Catholics in America supported it. In fact, a lot of them came out and supported the anti BLM stuff. So you got to understand what I'm actually saying. Listen to what my words are, not what you think they're what I'm saying, okay? What am I saying? I'm saying that the Pope in Rome has an agenda, and it's called BLM LGBT, open borders, no guns, no talking, shut the fuck up, give me your guns. We're going to burn down your cities if you don't like it. We're going to use Black Lives Matter protesters to kill you, just like they did in Haiti in 1790. You ever heard of the Haitian revolt, the slave revolt? Whose slaves were they? They were the Jesuit slaves, and they were encouraged to overthrow the king, to overthrow the white rule, just like they did all over the world. When you get in their way, they use primarily it's blacks and communists to kill you. So I've got friends all over Facebook that are trying to say, "Oh, look, we've got a new pope, and he's anti-communism." You don't get what that means, though. What that means to the Pope is anti-Russian, because the Russians aren't under Rome, and this is a dispute that's been going on since 1054 or earlier. I mean, it's been going on since 140 BC, when the Romans backed the Hasmonean dynasty to fight the Greeks. Okay, to fight with the Greeks. That was the beginning of the West-East. The beginning of the West-East conflict began actually before Christianity, when the Romans backed the Hasmonean rabbinical system to fight the Greeks. Okay, that group that the Romans backed to kill off the Greeks and take back Judea for the Romans, actually, because they called it semi-autonomous rule in Judea, and it lasted like a couple of years, and then the Romans said, "Hey, actually, this all belongs to us," right? But that group that they put in charge became the Pharisees and the Sadducees. That was the Cohen group, the Hasmonean dynasty that was backed by the Romans. I'm saying that's how far back this contest goes between East and West. Now, the reason why they attacked America with Black Lives Matter is the same reason they tried to overthrow the King of Germany in 1848 with a communist revolt. Okay, the same reason they burned down American cities under Donald Trump's first term, and I'm talking about the Roman Catholic Church. The same reason the Vatican and the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church used Black Lives Matter to burn down U.S. cities between 2016 and 2024, when Trump was the president. Mostly around 2020, I believe most of that happened, but it's been happening for longer than that. The reason they did that was the same reason they sponsored a communist revolt, a Marxist revolt in 1848 to take out the German king in 1848. Why? Because he had a federation of Protestant churches that weren't under the Roman rule. So that had to be all wiped out. And they did wipe it out. They wiped it out by bringing, with World War I, and then bringing in, after World War I, the Weimar government. They got rid of the aristocracy in Germany. They eventually got rid of it. And now Germany has a federal republic. See, it's a republican system. This was all brought in by the Roman Catholic Church. That's why they overthrew the king of Russia in 1917. It was backed by the Roman Catholic Church, and they used Jewish Ukrainian communists to overthrow Russia, backed by the Freemasons and the Jesuit Washington D.C. District of Columbia, and the Jewish banking cartels, and the Rockefeller family, and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Schiffs. Same group as always. So what I'm saying is, all my Roman Catholic friends are getting duped once again. You're just getting duped. Now, the other thing I noticed that the Pope is doing is he's pretending like he's pretending to be anti-LGBT. Why? Because it's unpopular again. And so he has to pretend. But you got to understand, he's already said he supports blessing same-sex marriages. Not marriage, but blessing them. We're going to bless them. That's what he said. And so that's not Christianity. That's not Christianity. Maybe you like that. Maybe you're listening to this video and you think that's great, but that's not Christianity. It's not, and it will never be. It will never be. And I'm not going to explain to you why it's not, because if you don't understand the logos, and you don't understand a man and a woman and all that, then don't look. I'm not here to explain it to you, because it's not my job. So yeah, so this is just more. This is more fakery. This is more confidence games. This is about tricking Catholics. Completely about tricking Catholics. Let me just read you a little bit. Do I have an article here? I had an article about this Pope. As if we need one. It's just like, dude, don't follow the Pope. Don't be tricked. Stop being tricked by Rome. Don't be tricked by Rome anymore. Do I have to explain it to you? Let me give you this. Let me just give you a quick update on what this article I was reading now. If I can find it again. About some of the things that he says and some of the things that he supports. Let's see what we got here. Might not be able to. No, I don't think I have it. Part of the problem is, oh, here we go. Yeah. Here's I can't access Twitter or X, but so this Robert Prevost, who's now the Pope, reposted in 30 May 2020, as American cities were literally being ravaged and burned, and people were being murdered and beaten, and so during that time he was out there promoting the dangerous UN mystery injections that killed millions, because the Vatican's invested in all that. And he retweeted this other Roman agent of Sodom called Bishop Burbage, who says, "We continue to pray for Mr. George Floyd and his family in his honor. And as we prepare for Pentecost, we ask the Holy Spirit to unite us and heal our wounds. May all hatred, violence, prejudice be eradicated so that we may live in harmony and in the peace of our Lord Jesus. See, it's literally, when I say the word sodomite, I don't just mean sexual pervert. See, in the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, it's not just that they were perverts. It's that they of sex. It's not that they were just sexual deviants. It's that everything they do is perverted. They pervert everything. They're crooked. And they use this little facade. I love Jesus. I'm so nice. I'm a good boy. Lovey-dovey-dovey. See, it's fake. It's fake. It's fake. And if you buy into it, you're a fool. You're being conned. You're being tricked. You're naive. You're simple-minded. You don't understand how satanic cults operate. You don't understand how satanic cults operate. How they dress themselves in Christianity. How satanic cults dress themselves in Christianity. I assure you that the Roman Catholic Church is a hardcore satanic pervert cult. Sodomite, satanic, BLM, vicious, murderous, drug trafficking, human trafficking, child sex pervert cult. It's evil. It's pure evil. And they're involved in all of the worst crimes. But the thing is, they don't do the crimes. They have all these little proxies like ISIS. Like they have this little proxy called ISIS and Al Qaeda. They have another little proxy called some other group that they use that goes around chopping people's heads off or torturing people in cages and burning people. See what I mean? That's the Catholic Church. That's the Roman Catholic Church that all these really nice people support. And they don't support any of that stuff. They support the people that support that though. They've got a pope. See, that's why you should follow only Christ and not some man, because you're literally following a satanic organization that goes around supporting proxy groups that burn people alive in cages and chop their heads off, called ISIS and Al Qaeda, and other groups like BLM, and groups that do all kinds of weird shit. But I'm saying, I've got all these friends on my Facebook page. They're Catholics. They're totally being deceived by this, and then they're promoting all this stuff to. So this one guy, like him, I'm not going to say his name. He says, "In my honest opinion, the Vatican had a hand in encouraging H to invade the Russian motherland, which was a strategic, idiotic move." I'm not talking about. Okay, I'm not talking about AH. Not AH. Not AH. Not AH. Not just not AA. See, he doesn't get it. He thinks Adolf Hitler was working with the Vatican. No, dude, the Vatican tried to kill Adolf Hitler. That's the other thing. They've really been tricked, dude. There's a whole thing, and there's a whole way that the CIA and people associated with Rome trick Catholics into thinking, because they know there's different segments of the Catholic. They know there's different types of people that join the Catholic Church. So they have a way of playing these people to keep them, stringing them along. Mostly, the people that get tricked the most are the right wingers that think. Here, I got to respond to this guy. They backed communism. Overthrow Germany in 1848, dude. They backed communism to overthrow Germany in 1848. Then they backed the communists to take out the Tsar. He doesn't get it. They don't get it. They don't realize they're really being deceived. They're really being deceived. And I think this is like the last domino, dude. It's like everybody can see how the Jewish mafia does stuff, but they can't see how the Roman Catholic Church just sits there and literally does all the same things, but on a way bigger scale. Way bigger scale. They've got way more influence. The Roman Catholic Church has way, 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 way more influence than the Jewish mafia and is doing all the exact same things and more. And just like they trick, just like that, look, they have to trick certain people that follow them to keep them in the fold. And the biggest people, the group they trick the most are the right wingers. And they use people like Steve Bannon, and they use people like Nick Fuentes. And I think they're using Nick Gage and all these other people. Because you have to understand, dude, you have to understand that the whole Republican system since the beginning was the whole Republican system that we live under, that we don't have, there's no more kings, all the kings got killed off. That was all put together by the Roman Catholic Church, right? You know, the Haitian revolt where they killed off all the white people, that was the Roman Catholic Church. You know, this guy Mandela that like started a big terror group down in South Africa to kill the white people, that was the Roman Catholic Church. And they have little proxies that they use. They've got the Jewish communists, they've got the black terrorists, they've got these little groups they use. They're backing communism. They run the AFL-CIO that runs the BLM to burn down our cities, to intimidate and kill white people if they try to rebel. See, that's the problem, dude. They run the AFL-CIO that runs the BLM to intimidate and kill white people if they try to rebel. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That the Roman Catholic Church runs BLM. BLM is like that is like one of their most important things, but it's not just BLM. It's Black Lives Matter and the Muslims and the LGBT and the Antifa. They've got this huge network of violent groups, violent protest groups that they can bring out and use them to kick your fucking teeth in if you try to escape the system. And it's called BLM and Muslim immigrants that they're shipping in. Like they're just trying to overwhelm white populations with foreign populations and then use Antifa, these brainwashed Antifa people that are allied with this and the LGBT, and they get this big group. They've got all these different people that they use that are all totally psychotic and angry and want to kill the whites. So you better go with the program. See, that's who the Catholic Church actually is. That's who the Roman Church really is. And they've always been this. They've been doing this the whole time. It's not that this is new. It's just nobody can see it because they're blinded by because they hold up a cross and they wear a pink robe and they wear a funny hat. And so you don't see what's going on because you're tricked. It's a trick. See, they just put up this window dressing, and so you can't see the demon that's staring back at you. And it's his name is Pope Leo. Pope Leo, the head of Black Lives Matter global terrorism, the head of the UN shot that killed millions of people, the genocidal UN shot that killed millions of people. That's the Pope. That's the demon. That's the demon in Rome. See, that's who wants to kill you. That's who they're making billions and billions. You know how they make billions of dollars over the bat? Who do you think funds all this? How do you think they have all these churches all over the world and all the best parts of the world with all the best land? And none of them work. None of them have jobs. They just sit in there and do nothing all day. Bunch of boys playing together with their robes on. Who do you think funds all that? You fund that through your tax dollars because they're invested in things that are designed to kill you. And because no one pays for them, the government wants you dead because they're run by the Pope and the AFL-CIO. and Black Lives Matter and LGBT. You got to understand, it's a suicide cult. It's a suicide cult, right? That's why there's a rainbow. Now, Pope Leo's pretending like he avoided the rainbow. He's trying to separate himself from that to a degree. Well, that's because it's not popular anymore, and he's trying to trick you. But understand, okay. The Vatican made billions of dollars because they invested in a drug that everybody had to take, or else you lose your job, and you can't go outside, and you can't go to the beach, and you can't go for a walk in the park, and you have to put a mask on your face. And if you don't take it, we're going to come do things to you in your house. See, that was the Vatican. That was the Vatican. That was the Vatican. They did that to you. They made a lot of money off it because all the money that the Trump administration foolishly gave them, and all these other governments around the world just foolishly gave them, and everybody went along with it because you're all brainwashed by the Pope, who's a demon. This reminds me of the last thing I'll tell you. The last thing I'll tell you is the Duke of Brunswick. The Duke of Brunswick. What year was this? This is the 1700s? Was fighting against what he called the Illuminati, right? This is when they took over the Freemason. The Duke of Brunswick. I wish I could go through all the old records and find out everything that he said and everything that he did, because he came on to something and it freaked this guy. It freaked him out, man. It freaked him out, and he realized there was some really bad stuff going on. And let me tell you what he said. See, this is back. When was the Duke of Brunswick? Let me see let's see when he was around. Duke of Brunswick. Duke of Brunswick. Charles William Ferdinand, Duke of Brunswick, was a ruling prince of Brunswick, Wolfenbüttel, hereditary Duke of Brunswick, Lüneburg, and a military leader. So he is from Germany, Deutschland. All right, and he was a military leader. He was a member of the lodge. He was. Let me see what else it says here about him in Wikipedia. Quick little Wikipedia check here. What does it say? What year was this? 1735 is when he. Okay, so his reign was 1780 to 1806. Okay. He was. Yeah. Okay, anyway. What did he do? His military career, 7 years war. 7 years war was the war. Okay. All right, let me just read you his quote. That's the important. So it says, I have been convinced that we, as an order, have come under the power of some very evil occult order, profoundly versed in science, both occult and otherwise. Though not infallible, their methods being black magic, that is to say, electromagnetic power, hypnotism, and powerful suggestion. Now, remember when everybody ran to the store and raided all the toilet paper? Because I do. Do you remember when everybody watched television and then ran out and like injected stuff into their veins and then a lot of them died? Because I do. That's called brainwashing. That's called, it says right here, powerful suggestion, hypnotism. See, that's called hypnotized. Those people were hypnotized. They are hypnotized. I can tell you exactly how they're hypnotized. They're hypnotized with fear. They're hypnotized with terror. And then they're given a suggestion, and then they act on that suggestion. See, I just told you how they do it. I'm talking about the Roman Catholic Church and the Pope and their whole network, which spans the CIA and and security services in Europe and London, and they have all kinds of proxies, ISIS, Al Qaeda. They're involved with Ukraine and the war with Russia. Of course they are. They've always wanted to. So they have to destroy Russia. That's been. I don't want to go into that. That's been going on for so long, dude. It's just different names, but it's the East-West conflict. And I don't. There's not a whole else I can say to it. Do you like living under lockdowns and having to inject deadly drugs in your body and watching all your friends and family die? Do you like that? Well, then be a Roman Catholic. Support the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, support Dr. Fauci and the Roman Catholic Church, because that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get more of that. Okay, end of stream.